What's up, people? Razatia here in Singapore, and it is mid-afternoon, about 3 o'clock on Monday, April 6th. And I've been kind of reflecting over the weekend because I've had a lot of very, very difficult conversations with people. And as much as I love my job, I got to remember that I got to clear my own energy field. I got to make sure that, I handle myself as well, because I want to be able to represent you guys and show up fully in everything that I do, so that if you do really need the help, I am actually in a good frame of mind to really be able to help you. I can't be bogged down by my own emotions or the emotions that I absorb off of other people when I counsel, my own clients. So reflecting a lot, thinking about what's been going on, and I gotta say, it's been important for me to really take note of the way people show up when they do come in for therapy. They are looking for a point of view to help them manage whatever it is that they're living through at the moment. And sometimes they're looking for someone to validate the fact that they were right and justified in everything that they were doing. Now, honestly speaking, when you come by yourself to speak about your relationship with another person, it's very difficult for me to be able to justify what you're doing is right or wrong, because I'm only getting your viewpoint, which means you already feel justified. You wouldn't have taken that course of action if you didn't already feel justified in the action that you did take. Let me give you an example so you can understand where it is that I'm coming from. When I call my brother for advice, when I'm going through something, it's usually because I want to make sure that I did the best that I possibly could in that moment. And technically speaking, I did. In the moment, let's say I was having a tough time understanding what one of the teachers said to my daughter. And I only got my daughter's side of the conversation. And when I heard her and listened to the way she was speaking, as in her body language, her tone of voice, tears, if she was in tears or whatever, if I hear all of that, I am actually going to be activated. I am going to go into full on, beast mode as a mom, and I want to protect my baby. I don't want her to feel hurt anymore. But I also need to step back sometimes and realize, okay, there's another side of this conversation. So sometimes when it's very difficult and I can't see my way out of it, which is quite rare, I'm very proud to say it's quite rare, when I do need to consult somebody else, I usually call my brother. And for the most part, I will give them all of the information that I think is pertinent to why I made the decision that I made, which is not the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It's my version of the truth. It is everything that justifies why I did what I did. There was one instance once upon a time where I felt like I needed to go confront the bully in the school because they were picking on my little brother. When I finally asked somebody about it years later, was I justified in doing what I did? They said no. At the time, you should not have gone to pick a fight for your brother, because it also did not give him the opportunity to stand up to the bully on his own. Now, letting him know that you were there, you got his back, you handle what you got to handle, that's different than stepping in and doing it for him. Same thing with parenting, right? When I tell a baby girl what to do and let her handle it versus I go in and do it for her, it's either helping her to become more empowered in her own strength, or teaching her that no one can do it as good as I can, so you might as well step aside and let me do it. So in one of those situations, I called my brother and I said, yo, what do you think? I really, really want her to grow up to be this independent young woman where she can make the decisions she needs to make, and she doesn't hesitate. She knows what the options are and what the best course of action is for her. But in that specific situation, I had already done it for her instead of letting her do it for herself. And when my brother told me, hey, you took the decision out of her hands, you took the opportunity for her to show herself, to prove to herself that she had it within herself to make that decision, you kind of disempowered her. You took the wind out of her sails, so to speak. So I was kind of upset, right? I was thinking, well, what the hell did I tell him that he would go on and take her side, or show me that I wasn't that great a mom or whatever? And I needed to realize, I need to check myself and say, yo, I gave him the information at the time that justified my decision. It did not show him the whole picture at the time of whether or not I should have stepped in or not. I didn't give him all of it. So when I'm talking to you about, clients and their one-sided conversation, because it's only their point of view, it becomes very, very important that you as a counselor or a coach or a mentor really take a step back and understand that there are other angles that you could be seeing this from. Because you don't have the other person to represent themselves, you got to be very careful. You got to be very cognizant of the fact that you're dealing with two people, and two people's trauma, and two people's history, and two people's belief systems that drive why they did what they did. In some cases, you may have a client who is dealing with sexual abuse or physical abuse or mental abuse. Maybe they're in a situation where they can't talk to the people that they're confined with, that they live with, because they've already decided, well, this is the way they are. I'm going to accept them as they are. I'm just going to go on my merry way. But that also means that you feel even more isolated from the rest of the world because you're around people, but you don't feel like you belong with them. So I have to make sure as a counselor that I really, really take the time to incorporate the other side of the story. Sometimes I luck up and the other party, the significant other or the other part of that relationship also is in counseling with me separately. And even more than that, very, very rarely I get the opportunity to counsel both people at the same time so they can hear each other speak and hold each other accountable, and I just mediate. That is the ideal situation, but it doesn't always happen that way. You're very lucky when you have a partner who's willing to come and sit with you in counseling or counsel alongside you, just not with you, so that they can have their point of view heard as well. And then it becomes the counselor or the mentor's job to kind of find a way for them both to see and hear each other very well. It becomes a communication situation. I have to be the bridge. So, in situations where you go to counseling, please understand when you give the counselor your account of what happened, when you retell the story of why you did what you did, you're only giving us one side of the story. There's going to be questions that we're going to have to ask to be able to give you another perspective to look at the situation from. It's very easy for us to see ourselves as the hero in our own story and forget that, guess what? The other person is also the hero in their story. So they don't think that their actions are wrong either. And the only way for you to tell them, hey, your actions, however you felt about them, hurt me, is for you to physically go up and tell them that they hurt you. That's not the easiest conversation. It's very, very difficult and uncomfortable. A lot of people don't want to open up and say, hey, you hurt my feelings. As simple as that statement is, it can be very, very destructive to your self-esteem, to how you feel about yourself. You might think you're this big badass bitch or whatever, and you can go on life and you don't have to worry about what people say or how people say it. You're going to make it anyway. But then for you to take a step down and tell people, hey, I would rather you not say that or call me that or refer to me as this because it hurts my feelings. Simple sentence. It means a whole lot, but it also opens you up and it makes you vulnerable. But please understand, the only way to bridge communication gaps, the only way to build trust in a relationship is for you to show up sometimes and be vulnerable and allow that person to step up to the plate and do the things that they need to do or be the person that they need to be in order to help you through this or not. If you don't give them the opportunity, you won't ever know if they were worth the time and effort or if they were even capable of being the person you need them to be. A lot of times you got to be brave enough to open up and say so. So once again, when you come into a coaching relationship and you speak to someone, asking for their help, their guidance, help me understand why it is the way that it is, you need to understand you're only seeing it for one person's point of view. And so it's the counselor's duty then to ask the difficult questions so that you later on, once you are of sound mind and body, can go and have that difficult conversation with that relationship you're trying to save in order to be productive. You guys, if you have any other questions or comments, please leave them in the drop box below. In the meantime, please try and keep a level head in this time of quarantine. And if you need help, reach out. You know how to reach me. You know exactly where to find me. Reach out and I will do the best I can to help. At the moment, I am offering a lot of free classes. I am showing up live a lot more. And I want you to know that you can reach out. I am offering this pro bono. So please, if you have any questions, drop them below. But in the meantime, y'all stay safe. I love you guys. Bye.